Did you ever share how you almost chopped off your whole finger?
Lesson learned on that one. Being that you're on your chef journey.
I was really scared to do it. I love to eat.
Yeah.
I'm definitely not chef level. It is a waste if you spend a lot of time food prepping and then you don't spend the time to actually make the meal. Hey guys, I'm Brittany Xavier.
And I'm Anthony Xavier.
And you're listening to The Long Game. Welcome back to The Long Game. Today we thought we would talk about how we food prep and plan our meals for the week. It's not only saved us time, but it has saved us money.
And also too, it's really benefited us health-wise. Like making our own food, and because before we looked at eating as kind of a hindrance, like, oh, we have to eat lunch, so we have to figure out what are we going to eat, where are we going to go get this food, the time that it took. But we thought of it as a convenience because as long as someone else was making it for us and we just eat it down real quick, like we're not wasting time, okay, trying to prep everything, cook, clean, and then move on with our day. But what we slowly started figuring out, the more we got into our own health, was convenience doesn't always equal healthy. I mean, unless we're eating at Erewhon, because that's a really good convenience, and they have healthy foods. But before our discovery of Erewhon, we would go out to restaurants thinking, because it's not fast food, it was somewhat healthy for us, which is the complete opposite.
And we would usually buy paper plates. We would never want to clean dishes. We just thought anything that involved us having to spend time with food was a waste of time. And throughout this past year, we've really changed our mindset that spending time making a meal and sitting down together as a family is not time wasted, but it's time well spent. And knowing exactly what ingredients you put in your food is also the added benefit. Plus, you're able to buy in bulk and know exactly what type of items you're buying. So let's walk through what we do. So starting on Thursday, I normally find about 5 recipes that I want to use. Usually 5 because I could probably do 4 even, because sometimes we have leftovers or we'll make a smoothie for lunch. So it kind of depends on how many meals realistically you think you're going to eat that week without having leftovers. So some of the recipes I'll double, and some, let's say if I'm making a 1-pan sheet or I'm making something that says it serves 6, for us as a family of 4, well, right now because Jaden's not living here, so it's 4 people. I have leftovers when it's for a family of 6. So kind of just look at the recipe, see the serving size, see if you need to double the recipe. And why I like to double recipes is because the next day, then we can save them and use them for lunch. So our breakfast and lunch is very easy to think about. We make eggs in the morning for breakfast. We'll put some avocado if they're in season, or we'll do yogurt. So we'll have yogurt and we'll put a bunch of good toppings on there.
What are some of the toppings?
We do chia seeds, hemp hearts, cacao nibs, manuka honey. What else? We've been doing the pomegranate powder. Kind of just whatever Poppy wants to put on there. We have an area in the pantry where it's yogurt toppings. So I play around with it.
We also do that, what is it, HTB protein powder?
And mix it in.
That kind of gave it a little bit more of a thickness, or I was recently doing that, and it just made, because if you, every day you're eating yogurt and you're trying to find ways to spice it up a bit, and add more protein, so I would throw in the protein powder, and it would thicken it up, and it kind of not like a pudding type of consistency. Regardless, it was really yummy. So you can get creative and start maybe I could throw in like a goat whey protein powder just to up the protein.
And then we'd also do berries if those are in season too. And so kind of just see what's in season and what you have that's going to taste good on it, because you want it to be good. Poppy loves her honey on it, so that's anytime she gets yogurt, she wants the honey on it. That's something that happens every morning. So we'll do eggs too. So, I really like the seasoning, the breakfast blend from Primal Palette. They have a really good organic spice blend that is so delicious, and it just makes the eggs extra yummy.
With a little Baja Gold salt.
Yeah, we like a lot of salt. So that's usually what we'll do for breakfast. And then for lunch, we're usually eating whatever is left over from the night before. And some days it's a mix of leftovers. So it'll be like we'll have someone's eating something different, but they're always easy to just warm up. They're in glass containers already from last night, and we portion them out in meal sizes. So that way we grab it from the fridge, put it in the oven, warm it up, and it's ready to go. And then Poppy and Ellie do like smoothies a lot. So we have the same idea where we have a section in our pantry where it's just all toppings that you can add, or not toppings, but mix-ins that you can use for the smoothie. And it has some really good, we do walnuts, pecans, we'll do the protein powder, we'll do some leafy greens.
I also like to do the microgreens.
Oh yeah, microgreens, kind of seeing whatever what's in season. So you can put some apples in there, just depending on what you have gotten. Oh, and then we like to put the chia seeds and the hemp hearts and just a lot of the nuts for the fiber, which is good. So that way for dinner, I look at the recipes and say I'm looking at 5 recipes for the week. I also like to plan out muffins. I love making muffins. I plan out a fun breakfast for Saturday morning. So either if it's pancakes or waffles, I like to do a sourdough twist. I recently did sourdough cinnamon rolls and they were so good. So I like to look ahead and see what can we have for a fun brunch on Saturday morning. So I'm planning out what I want to make for the week and then getting my ingredients together in a list that's easily organized. I'm basically putting all the produce at the top because that's the produce that I'm going to get at the farmer's market. And the nice thing about when you find seasonal recipes, when I'm looking for recipes, I'm looking for spring recipes. And I also have a lot of recipe books that are organized by season. So the nice thing is you're finding things at the farmer's market that are for that recipe, unless you wanted to mix things up. Like say you have sweet potatoes and the recipe's calling for green beans or something that's not readily available, you can easily switch things up just based on what you have, but get a general idea of what your list is. And then for the dry foods, we order from Thrive Market. So I'll do that order and I'll get all my nuts from there. And that comes right to your doorstep. And it's a little bit less expensive if you do the auto ship. So that's something you can do once a month. But it takes like 2 days to get here. It's pretty quick. I got a bunch of stuff from there.
Spices.
Yeah, all the spices we get. I'm trying to think. I get olive oil, avocado oil, all the staples for baking I get on there. They do have frozen foods too. I don't do the frozen boxes as much. We usually do the dry foods. And then any of the dairy products or cold refrigerated, like if I needed cream cheese or a cheese, then we get that from Whole Foods. But what we'll do is, what is that thing? Amazon. They do the 2-day delivery.
It could be same day if you order in the morning, or if you order the night before, it'll get there the next day. So it's really quick.
That's why on Thursday I like to find all my recipes, because then Thursday I want to place my order for Thrive Market on what I need, because that way they'll come usually by like Friday late or Saturday. No, I'm thinking probably Saturday it usually comes. It just depends on how early I order the food. So we'll do Thrive Market that day, get that Saturday morning is farmer's market. We'll get our produce. And then Friday is when I like to do the Amazon order. We've also gone into Whole Foods a couple times if like we didn't place the order in time, but I like to have all my food ready for the week on Saturday. And it makes it so much easier and seamless throughout the week, where I have my list on my notes of the 5 recipes, the muffins, the fun food I'm making. I do like to make a lot of desserts too. So I'll make like a healthier cookie. We did cobbler. It just kind of depends on what we have. And
Lemon poppy seed muffin.
oh, that was so good. And the lemon poppy seed cookies, the glaze. I don't think Poppy's is into the poppy seed though.
I think it's the lemon that throws her off.
Yeah, I was bummed. I was like the only one eating.
Poppy seed always it's like paired with lemon, right?
Yeah, she wasn't a huge fan.
They're really good.
I thought they were good. And it also had an almond flavor in it because I did the almond extract. It was so good. I love almond extract.
I think our biggest thing is we try to source everything that we need from the farmer's market first.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we'll get our meats, our steaks, our chicken, so beef, chicken, and salmon. So with the beef, we like the leaner cuts, so we'll do like filet mignon. I like ribeye, so I'll get a couple ribeye. We'll buy some ground beef. It's all grass-fed, grass-finished from a local farm. And I think we still have meats, and it's been like 3 weeks. So I really like to know our cuts, and then we buy a little bit more, and it typically will get us through the month. And then with chicken, you want to make sure pasture raised. We found a farm for that. So I've been ordering chicken, and we'll do chicken breasts, chicken thighs, because those are just easy, and it's easy to pair them up with any vegetables or stir fry.
Those are the cuts we like. I love chicken thigh. So I think just finding recipes or even switching out. So if something calls for chicken breast, I'll do chicken thigh. We'll do whatever we have. And also, we bought that extra freezer. That is such a good investment because we constantly have meat in there. I would say we only eat salmon and mussels when it comes to fish.
Yeah, so we found a local guy that brings in wild caught salmon. So that's something that you need to look for too. What I've noticed when you go to the store, there's no such thing as like Atlantic salmon. They're all farmed basically. And you can tell by just the skin color. If it's very light pink, you really want to stay away from it, because if you look into the process of what the farmers do with farmed fish, it's kind of gross. So we
It's
always,
really sad what it looks like too.
yeah, and they use dyes to make the salmon pink or have that color, because when they're farmed, they don't have that natural color.
Well, that's why you can't go off what the skin color looks like.
No, but if the Atlantic, or not Atlantic, but the salmon that we get wild caught from Alaska, you can tell it's just a really dark, like red almost.
Yeah, like the healthy flesh on it.
And that's, you can do the same thing with your beef too. You can tell if you do a store-bought beef that was raised on some monster conglomerate farm compared to something that's been grass-fed and grass-finished on a local farm, you can tell the difference between the colorings.
And we don't really do any other fish mainly because of the mercury levels. And salmon has a lower mercury level than other fish. So we try to stick to salmon and we just like salmon. I like the taste of it. There's a lot of easy meals. Salmon takes about 15 minutes to cook in the oven. So if you put some type of lemon, butter, the other night I did an almond crusted salmon that was so good. Had Dijon mustard and I ground down, grinded
Grind it down.
almonds into an almond meal and then put paprika, salt and pepper, and Poppy helped me paint it on with a pastry brush. She thought it was really fun. And that took maybe 20 minutes total because 5 minutes to just kind of put it together and then 15 minutes to cook. And we steamed broccoli and spinach for the side. So that was something that was like, well, what vegetables do we have left? Let's not waste anything. But that salmon was already on my list for that week. I knew I was going to make the salmon, but I was going to make the side with whatever we had left for that week. So we really don't want to waste food. That's the thing. I don't want my produce to go bad. And so getting creative on what the side. So if we know we have meats in the freezer and we know we have vegetables from the farmer's market, we'll do kind of what, you can roast veggies. There's simple things. It doesn't always have to be a really fancy recipe, but just using what you buy because it is a waste if you buy all this produce and you spend a lot of time food prepping and then you don't spend the time to actually make the meal. I would say I take about an hour to make a meal each day, whether it's like I'm prepping. I'm also very slow with chopping. I don't want to cut my finger and I don't know the correct way. I'm still watching YouTube videos on trying to figure out how the best way to dice a carrot. I'm learning all of these things, but I feel like each time I'm getting a little bit better. So that time investment is also helping me learn, but also helping Poppy learn. And I'm hoping that she'll be able to, as she gets older, it'll be much easier for her to pick it up. And by the time she's, my age, she's like, I've been cooking forever. And they do say when kids know how to cook, they make better choices with food down the line, especially when they're in college and as an early adult. So that's one regret I have with Jaden is just like not giving her the emphasis of taking the time to learn how to make food. And we're doing it a little bit with her. And she sent me a couple things that she wants me to make when she comes out. She's coming out in a couple days. But I do feel like I didn't like make that a huge thing until like this last year. She's already a senior.
But it was different because it was only 3 of us. So for us to just go get food somewhere, it was a lot easier. We didn't waste as much food.
That's true.
Then, okay, now we're going to make this huge meal, but we're going to have leftovers for days. So it was just like one of those things where it might be cheaper just doing it this route, but not knowing the health aspect in conjunction with that.
And one thing that has been really easy with the kids is having leftovers the next day. And their lunches is so much easier when I know that I made a meal the night before and that we have something good. So this morning they had eggs, and then for lunch they had shepherd's pie that we had last night, and it's really good, really comforting. They also wanted a little bit of smoothie, so we made a smoothie still. but they're getting, a good mix of vegetables. And when I do say to them, I mean, Elliot eats whatever. He just will keep shoveling, literally like shoveling food with his fork. And what we tell Poppy is I really don't like her to snack after lunch. Like she doesn't get a snack before dinner because we eat dinner pretty early. The other night I let her have a couple pecans and she's like, I'm full. I'm like, okay, you just ruined your appetite. But what I try to do is not have her snack. So she's hungry for dinner. She eats her dinner. But if she does like the other night when she ate some things and she's like, I'm full, I'm like, okay, just tell me when you want it later. I don't try to make her something different. Everyone's eating the same thing. It's not spicy. It's not like crazy dish where I'm asking her to eat something that's out of
Her comfort zone.
right. It's like very mild and it has like a different veggies and a meat mixed in. It's always flavorful. But we just say, okay, tell us when you're hungry and you'll eat it later. And she's like, fine, and she'll eat it.
But that's the big thing with us is, yeah, we're not going to try to cater to everyone's preferences. Like whatever the meal is, we're all going to eat it. If you're not going to eat it, okay then.
Just tell us when you're hungry. And we don't force them to eat either. Sometimes I'll give Elliot his lunch too early and he's just kind of like, and I'll try again in a half an hour and then he eats it. So sometimes it's like kids are just, they're like not hungry at the exact same time. Elliot now will say, eat, eat. He'll tell us in the morning he wants to eat. So that's always good because I say, okay, I'm ready. And he'll point and I'll go to the fridge and he'll point to the eggs. He's so funny. But he's able to communicate a little bit more now too. And obviously when he was younger, he would cry. Like I knew when he was hungry. But with Poppy, I sometimes if she's just in the kitchen, I'm baking, she's like, I want a snack. I'm like, you just ate. You don't need a snack right now. Like, help me bake. Like she's just like looking in the pantry, like, ooh, I want that. But we try to make sure that when they're eating like a full meal.
When they were younger, we really tried to push a lot of different things. I mean, Poppy loves salmon, and she was eating that. I mean, since she can chew the fish, like she just loves salmon. She used to love broccoli. Now it's a little bit here or there. Last night she did.
She ate a lot of it last night. She's like, I forgot I like this so much.
It's probably just she didn't have a snack.
Yeah, that's why she was like, ooh, this is so good. She ate everything.
But when they're younger, we really tried to incorporate a lot of different things. Elliot, he eats sardines, and so we'll mix sardines with some vegetables, and he loves it. But he has like the stinkiest breath right after. But it's so trying to incorporate those type of foods early on so to get them used to it, get their taste buds used to it. So when we make these meals, they're not, ew, what is this fish? They're very open to eating the different things that we cook, and they're very used to it now.
I did feel bad the other day when I made that turkey chili and I put in too much chili powder. And the recipe at the very, very bottom of the recipe, it said, which lesson learned, now I read the full recipe with the recipe notes at the very bottom that said, some people have told me that this is too spicy. So I tasted it and I thought, oh, this is okay. I didn't mix it all the way. Like I had just spooned the top and I'm like, oh, okay, this seems pretty okay. It's like a little bit of heat, but not too much. And then I stirred it and put it in the bowl. And Elliot's eyes were like, I think that one was a little bit too spicy, but he was eating it. But then we put some sour cream, we put a little bit of milk, toned it down, and it was totally fine. Lesson learned on that one. But he is open to it because it's like he
just eats everything.
Yeah, he eats everything. He's all about it. He eats my eggs with cayenne pepper. I love spice. So I have tried to tone it down in the recipes though because of the kids. I really enjoy it. I think it's been a really good shift to have that. We all sit down together and eat. We all pray. And Elliot will put his hand out, like, let's pray. And he sticks his finger and he's like ready, but he's like already ready to eat. But I think it's so cute because it's like this routine that we're starting with them that I really want them to know that they're coming in for dinner. They're outside playing before. Usually Poppy's helping me, but I love that it's the atmosphere of almost that 90s feel of when we would run inside and be like, dinner's ready. When we were younger, no one was able to Postmate something different, or our parents didn't make us something different and we didn't like it. We had to eat our vegetables. We sat there. We had to eat before we get up. And so we're trying to establish those same kind of manners in the kids too. If they're not hungry right now, we're all sitting together as a family. And if they want to eat later, that's totally fine. But we're all going to sit together, ask each other about the day, which I think that's really cute because Poppy will ask us the most random questions at dinner that I think is so adorable. What did she say the other night? That she's like, I'm so thankful for this amazing life. I'm like, I've only been alive for 3 years and you're so precious.
I was playing with her toys at one night, and then she's like, So, how was your day?
That is so sweet.
You've been with me the whole day. She's like, well, tell me how your day. And I was like, oh. But you can tell like she's getting that kind of stuff from what we do just around the dinner table. And as they get older, they start doing their own things. We want the dinner table and dinner to be a place where we kind of all come back together. How was your day? And how's everything been?
What is some things you think that we can improve about food, our food situation right now?
I was, and this only happened recently, where when we do buy fruit and I start to see the fruit going bad, especially with avocados, because those are a little bit harder to time, and we eat them with eggs, and we do smoothies. But I'm like, why am I not just when they get ripe and if we have too much, just cutting them and then putting them into the freezer? So I've started incorporating that.
Good idea.
We're not wasting. And then even with the produce, if we see things that are starting to get a little or starting to go south, then we put those in the smoothies. So I feel like incorporating those little tips to where you're not wasting food, or even freezing so you can cut apples that look like are starting to go bad, or have a day or two and put that in the freezer, but really trying to utilize everything in the fridge. And I think the more we do this, especially being here and going to the farmer's market regularly, we're starting to understand, okay, how much milk do we need? How many eggs do we need? Or how much cheese or whatever it is. We're slowly honing in. And for you at home, if you're starting to do this, it's going to take a couple of weeks because you really don't know how fast you're going to go through something, or even just getting in the habit of having to cook every night and then understanding, okay, what ingredients am I using the most? What am I not using at all? And you'll fine tune it, but I think we're on week 4 maybe. I feel like we've been here for almost a month and we're starting to get a lot better at it.
And I think when I first started cooking and trying to figure out recipes, I felt like I had anxiety that I was wasting time when I was doing it in the very beginning. Like I was feeling like this isn't a good use of my time. I could be doing something else with work wise. Like I felt like that took me a little bit to get out of that mindset of this is a good use of your time. And like if my schedule is making me rush through dinner with my kids and making me not present for my kids, then I need to rearrange my schedule. And I think that really just, I mean, even that fact that we're in Tennessee right now, like so much of our life has changed because of we came to these realizations that the current setup we have is like not the best for our nervous system long term. And I think that that has just been a huge mindset shift for me is no, making food is not a waste of time. It's a really good use of your time. And even when we have people over, it's like that entertaining feel of, ooh, what can we make? Let's do this recipe. This has been so much fun. Or this dessert is so well liked. Let's do this one. I mean, before we get pizza when people would come over, and I mean, nothing's wrong with that, but it's just like we'd be like, I guess we can just pick up some pizza. I mean, what do we? It was never like there. It's something more fun and exciting about it now. It's like the making your home a home in a way. Like whenever people would say that the kitchen is the heart of the home, I'd be like, not for us. Like remember our first kitchen? We were trying to think the first house that we redid. When did we ever cook in there?
I think it was only eggs. Maybe we did steaks at one point, but it was such a big kitchen and we didn't really do anything with it.
Such a bummer because I didn't know how to cook anything.
I think we did Thanksgiving dinner. We did Thanksgiving once there, and we cooked some meals.
Yeah, we did. But remember, we did that one YouTube video of trying to cook a turkey, and then Poppy changed the dial, and the whole thing in the
And it was all on the video.
We were like, something happened with our stove. We look back at the footage, and Poppy had changed the temperature. So
A year and a half.
at least we weren't completely idiots with that.
That's a new feat, is trying to nail down a turkey, like a good solid turkey, like an Erewhon turkey.
Oh, that's like so juicy. So, one book that I would recommend, it's called the Martha Stewart cooking class or cooking cookbook. It's like her how-to cookbook that's kind of like a textbook. And I think it's like from the 90s or 2000s, but I got it on Amazon. But I really like that she goes through just basic how-tos, like how to boil an egg. She puts all her tips and there's photos on how she does it. So I like that. I went through that. I'm halfway through, but it talks about how to make your own stocks for soups and just like really basic things like what are the tools you need to have in your kitchen? And she's like, I would invest in some better tools. So I like that about the book. She pulls out like these are the pans you need. These are and I mean some of them she uses are aluminum and the nonstick, but they were also like in the 1990s or 2000s. So but I just love that it was just very back to basics for me and just going through And there's also in there, there's a section on how to make a turkey
Mm.
and step by steps. And it's like, if you can learn from Martha Stewart from a book, then you're getting the best advice there.
I think there's something just about cooking in general where it's fun because you're not, well, you're kind of, you are a chef, but it's it's almost like making music or creating something, building something. You're in the kitchen, you're putting all these ingredients together, and this dish comes out, and you get to serve to people, and you're like, oh, I hope they like it, or what do they think?
I think the main thing you cook is steak because I still haven't figured out how to do that. So I feel like you're really good at that. So let's just keep you on the steak.
And that takes
It's so good when you do it.
quite a few times because that
Tell what's your secret to steak?
I think one, taking the meat out, so the meat has to get to room temperature because if you start to cook a steak and it's still cold, it's going to mess up your cooking times. So you always want to take the meat out, maybe 30 minutes, 45
Take it
minutes.
out from the freezer. No, that would not
No,
be.
take it out from the fridge. So like if,
The night before, then you would put it.
yeah, if you have frozen steak and then you put it in the fridge and then whenever you're going to cook with it, take it out, say 30, 45 minutes so it goes down to room temperature. So if you did cast iron skillet, season wise, I just like to stick to the basics: salt, pepper, maybe a little garlic, a little onion. I don't want to get too fancy, but really lay it on the steak because you want to have a nice, good crust. And then for the skillet, heat up the skillet, use avocado oil because it has a higher smoke temp. So you can get really high without it starting to smoke. If you were to use like olive oil or anything else, it'll create a lot of smoke. So we'll do the avocado oil in the skillet. And then what I like to do is have some pieces of rosemary, some chopped garlic, and butter. So I'll have the crust, I'll put the
So
steak,
butter and the avocado oil.
yeah.
Not just the butter?
Because if you put the butter in first and you're trying to get out a really high temp, it's gonna, it'll start to, it'll start to go, like it'll start to smoke because it'll just burn off. Like you want a high temp because you want that crust on the steak. So when you put the steak down with the seasoning in the avocado oil, that's going to create the crust. And then you throw in the butter, the rosemary, the garlic, and you kind of use that as basting. So you'll baste that as you flip your steak, and you baste and baste until, depending on the cut size or what temperature you want your steak, then that's going to be how long you do the steak for, basically.
And then so he'll do something like that, and then we'll do a side. So that's usually one of the recipes that I'll just mark as making sure I get a side for whatever we're eating with the steak.
I always like to do like broccoli or asparagus, and we'll put it in the oven.
I mean, whatever's in season.
Yeah.
And you kind of know what's in season because if you go to the farmer's market, it's like whatever the farmers. Sometimes, honestly, the farmers markets aren't even available though until May. Like a lot of if they're in a really cold area and it's snowing, they're not even going to be, there's no growing season. So I think it really depends on where you're at, right? Go to localharvest.org and it'll show you where your local farmers market. The ones around here, they're all open. And I feel like because farmers markets are getting more and more popular and more people are having homegrown farms and they're selling their products, you can also go online and look for a local produce box that can get delivered to you from local farmers or find your local farm. That's a great way to just pick up directly. Like some people won't go to the farm, they won't go to the farmer's market, but you can go to their farm stand.
Being that you're on your chef journey, what do you feel like was
Don't
the
call me a chef. That's embarrassing. I'm definitely not chef level.
you're a chef of the house. You're cooking
Like a
food.
chef, you say, "Oh, this is what I want. Can you make this?" And they're like, "Sure." I would have no idea. I'd be so
So what
wrong.
would you call yourself?
A mom that cooks.
You can be a chef. Your chef
Not a
journey.
chef.
What do you feel like has been the hardest thing and what do you feel like has been the easiest?
The hardest thing still for me is to figure out how to time something when the recipe is saying, while this is going, do this other thing. And sometimes I feel like the prep time, when they say the recipe prep time and they say 10 minutes, I'm like, no, 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 this is going to take me 30 minutes. I already know that I'm going to chop slowly. I'm going to have to watch a YouTube video on how to chop something. So I always add in, I bake in a little bit of time for learning. And I feel like that slows me down a little bit. But otherwise, if I don't learn how to do it the right way, I feel like I will cut myself or get hurt.
Like I
So,
did?
and yeah, did you ever share how you like almost chopped off your whole finger?
I was cutting
And
potatoes.
he always likes to show me how fast he chops. I'm like, okay, that's pretty good. Until you cut your finger, it was so deep you could see bone.
Well, because I was cutting the potatoes, and when I held it, just my pinky was under the potato, so the knife went right through the
You're
potato.
supposed to hold.
I know, and
That's
I
a big thing is holding your fingers back when
have
you
to kind of,
try
yeah,
to
you
chop.
you knuckle it in a way to where your knuckles block the blade from getting any fingertips. But I was in a rush, and the knife went through way quicker through the potato than I thought, and got my pinky, and that was 7 stitches. And I still don't have feeling. I mean, it's gotten a lot better, but it's gonna take time. But yeah.
So after that, I really slow down my chopping because I'm like, I don't have time to go to I cannot add a emergency room visit on top of this meal. So I've tried to be really careful, but I do take the time to figure out. I don't know how to really dice an onion still. Like that's still every time I'm like, wait, what do I do again? Yeah.
I just remember our cooking class, and he was saying, because you have the onion and then the core, and he was using the core to where he was dicing it, but the core was still keeping everything together. Because you know how when you dice onions and then you try to switch it to dice it the other way, it kind of gets all funky. But the core kept the onion all together. So he would dice one way, turn it, dice the other way, and then cut the core off, and it just like all went.
When I did that class and I still every time I'm like, wait, how did he do that again? I have to look it up. And I just feel like my dicing on those are just sometimes the onions are just all different shapes. Like they're not like perfect little dice. You know, when you see like a photo of diced onions, I'm like that's not what mine looks like. Some of mine are triangles. So I don't know.
There's got to be a way also to cut it without your eyes
Oh
burning
my gosh, my eyes burn so bad.
crazy.
Well, someone said to put them in the fridge or the freezer like for 2 minutes before. I haven't tried that yet. Every time I'm just like, gotta figure out my dice.
We're just
So
trying to
there's
make a meal.
there's a couple things where I feel like I could probably get faster with that, but just keeping it basic, not overthinking it, just making sure that the meal has good ingredients and it's something that we're going to want to eat and be excited to eat. And then also want to have it for lunch.
And I think the more you do it, the better you'll get, obviously.
And then as far as we usually just drink water. Like we'll drink water from our AquaTrue water filter. We have that on the counter. So we'll just put the water that comes out of the tap in there and it filters it out. So we usually just drink out of that. But then we do like our sparkling water. I'm really into sparkling water. So we do Mountain Valley Spring and we just get a big box of it from Sprouts. So we always have it there and then we just put them in the fridge to work. I like them really cold.
We did have, we were into Hawaii volcanic.
Oh my gosh, the best sparkling water ever is also it also has a very high clarity as far as this water app I have is called Oasis and it tells you the public water reports of all these different types of drinks and the contaminants they find in it. And the Hawaii volcanic is so good. It's like the amount of the sparkling is so perfect. We tried it in Hawaii. I'm like, what is this sparkling water? It's so good. It's perfect. And I saw it on the app afterwards. I'm like, oh, I have to get this. I have to bring it home. So got on Amazon. Have not been able to find it since. And I wrote them an email like, hey, are you guys gonna restock that? I haven't heard back. So I don't know if they stopped making it or if it's maybe just available in Hawaii now and they stopped adding it. But when you go on their website, they have the link to buy now and it links to Amazon, but it says no longer available. So RIP Hawaii volcanic sparkling water if you're no longer in business. I don't know. Very disappointed with that. But that was our favorite sparkling water.
So now we're back to Mountain Valley.
Yeah, Mountain Valley is really good too. I feel like the bubbles are a tad bigger.
You think it's more?
I think it's like a little bit more sparkling than the Hawaii volcano. Do you think?
Yeah, it hits a little stronger.
It's a little bit more like I feel like if you were to picture the bubbles are bigger in Mountain Valley.
Yeah. Could you imagine? We were drinking LaCroix or LaCroix. You know how many of those, like way back when?
Those I would probably drink 10 a day and that was the only water I drank. And also you're drinking out of a can.
Yeah. Lesson learned on that one.
We were drinking. I was thinking, oh, we're drinking water.
Or it was like a good substitute to like, not that we were drinking soda before that, but it was kind of, it gave us that sparkly fullness in a way to where.
Yeah, I don't know why we got so into it because we weren't drinking soda before. I feel like sometimes you switch to sparkling water like if you're trying to get away from soda, right? We never
Yeah,
went
or
away
try
from
to
soda.
like a fruit juice or something. I think we just got it because For
It was
me, it
really
made
good.
me, it
Did
was
you
just
try
like
it?
filling, I guess. I don't,
My favorite flavor was the limoncello. That was my favorite flavor. So yeah, we try not to drink from cans because you just don't know what the lining is and what chemicals are in there. So try to drink out of glass as much as possible. And then if we're drinking out of our water filter, we'll just, use our glass cups. But we don't do ice really.
no. I feel like there's never really a need because Mountain Valley is always in the fridge.
Yeah, and the kids just drink room temp water. So
And if we want to do ice, it's kind of a big deal because we have these metal ice trays and then we fill it up with our filtered water. Then you have to put it in the
they're a
freezer.
hassle.
Yeah, because I don't really trust the filter. And
Yeah, we don't trust the fridge filter. But yeah, I'm trying to think. I feel like the only time we'll have like a cold drink is usually when we'll have a smoothie because it has all the frozen things, but we're not adding ice. We're adding like frozen fruits, frozen veggies. So it's like you're getting that ice without having to add ice.
I feel like adding ice to a smoothie is just kind of a waste.
True, because it's just like the
If you use frozen stuff and then you have your milk, almond milk, whatever, I mean, you're gonna get that nice. I feel like it waters it down. It has a
when I was pregnant with Elliot, I remember I was shooting in New York with our photographer that she was shocked that I was drinking an iced coffee because I would drink remember I would only drink iced coffee and she's like, "Whoa, like you are drinking iced coffee with being pregnant?" And I'm like, "Wait, what?" I was like, "I have only like a little bit of caffeine in it." And she's like, "No, no, no, not the caffeine." She's like, "The fact that you're drinking ice, like you're drinking a cold beverage with being pregnant, that's a huge no-no in Asia." And I was like, "Wait, tell me more. I don't think I've ever heard this before." So she was telling me that it's really important to keep your womb warm and having room temperature water or like even like a warm water in the morning. And if I was going to drink coffee, always have it hot or warm. So after that is when I switched from having iced coffee. And when she told me that, I thought, I mean, I still will have it here or there, but I used to only get iced coffee. And obviously making it at home, I don't have ice. So if I drink my coffee, it's like just warm, it's just like warm coffee. But then when we go out to get coffee, I'll get warm. But she was telling me that she was shocked. She's like, no, when you're pregnant or even at pregnant, like ice is not good for I don't know if she said digestion or I'd have to look into that more. Or I don't know, but she was just like room temp, warm, always better. Like, okay, that really stuck with me. So now I'll do it on occasion. Like if it's like a little treat or a Vietnamese coffee, you have to have a nice Vietnamese coffee. But I don't think I haven't had a warm Vietnamese coffee. Have you? Do they make that?
You know what? I think the place down the street, there's a coffee because it's a condensed milk. So that particular coffee, it has condensed milk. So I think that technically is kind of a Vietnamese, unless the Vietnamese coffee is a different coffee bean. I mean, it's really strong, but it's always paired with condensed milk. So
Okay, so you could probably have it hot. But I just think I think Vietnamese coffee is an iced coffee, and it's just like, oh, that's just so good.
that'll perk you up real
Oh,
quick.
I love Vietnamese coffee, so delicious. So after that, that stood out to me. So, but I guess I am having when I have a smoothie, that's a cold drink. But overall, I'm not adding ice to my drinks because that's really just stood out in my mind.
We didn't look it up to see if she was telling the truth.
I think I did at one point, but I don't know exactly if it was I can look it up right now. If it was like for reproductive health or for just like digestion. Is it better to have warm or lukewarm drinks instead of ice drinks for women? Let's see.
You're going to say pregnant.
It says for women, opting for warm or lukewarm drinks instead of ice cold drinks can offer potential benefits like improved digestion, better circulation, and a soothing effect, especially during menstruation or cold weather. Let's see. While the temperature of the drink can affect how it feels, both warm and cold drinks contribute to hydration, which is okay. Let's go to the Cleveland Clinic. Is this a study I can trust? I don't know. Who's funded this study? Some like it with ice, others like it hot with a slice of lemon, and some of us are just fine with whatever comes out of the tap. But does the temperature of water we drink have a positive or negative effect on our health? Let's see.
Funded by the American Ice Association.
Right? It's like super skewed. There's something very comforting about hot beverages. People like hot beverages for their souls, their psyches. If you have a cold and a hot steam, this is a lot that I have to read through to see like what's better for you. Okay. Do your own research. Right now I'm switched to hot.
Probably not.
Yeah, it's like could be personal preference. Also, I feel like that's probably something in Europe because it's really hard to find iced coffee in Europe.
Yeah.
And then on that hot summer day, we were ordering a coffee and it was a hot espresso. We're like, all right, I guess we'll just drink this here really quick.
Yeah, they don't believe in
There's
iced
no
coffee.
ice anywhere. What were you saying?
I said they don't believe in iced coffee.
You asked me something before that, and I was trying. Oh, do you remember what the food pyramid was in elementary school? I was thinking about that the other day. It's so bad. Let's see if we can find one. Food pyramid from 1996. It's so bad. I just remember really believing it at the time when I was little. One like, oh, that's what we should.
That's all they taught too. It's like make sure you eat.
So much indoctrination. Okay, it says. Okay. Is this from 1992? Grains were at the top,
Grains.
then vegetable. Oh, wait. Oh, no, here it is. Here it is. Here's the one that I remember. Okay, so grains are at the most that you should have, right? And then it says vegetables. Oh, so it says alcohol.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, I don't know if that was given to elementary kids, but it's literally on there on the side.
Literally, your base for the food pyramid is bread.
That's what they're saying because it was funded by, look at where it's funded by, but I think it was funded by cereal companies.
You have bread and then veggies and vegetables and then dairy and meats. Well, some meats like fish, and then on top it's other meats, and then very top fats, oils, and sweets.
And oh yeah, sweets were on there, which is
There's
nuts.
like a picture of a cheesecake, a muffin.
This is so bad. And we are believing this is truth. This is crazy. So we do a lot of, I'll do coconut sugar. I'll do honey. I do some brown sugar if the recipe really calls for it. Coconut sugar, it's all technically sugar. It's just like a little bit less processed than
It's not refined sugar.
right. But it's like a little bit less of an insulin spike from what I was able to find out. But it's still you're still giving your body sugar. So it's like just having it a little bit to where it's like if it's in my muffin or if it's in a cookie. But we'll try to do for desserts, I'll try to do either like an almond flour or an acorn flour. Trying to do something with like a more either it's gluten-free or a very low gluten. So acorn flour is not gluten-free, but it's how grains were harvested. They're not refined grains, so they're the way they were naturally like years ago. So it's a very like let me look that up. So I do when every time something calls for like if it's a muffin recipe and then they ask for like whole wheat flour, I'll just use acorn flour. It still has like that fluffy taste. Sometimes I'll just swap it for almond flour, but sometimes almond flour is like you'll get like a drier muffin sometimes. So you just kind of have to play around with it. Can you explain acorn flour to me like I'm a 5-year-old?
ChatGPT saves the day. I also use maple syrup.
I do maple syrup a lot too. Let's see. Okay, it says acorn flour, an ancient grain, generally has a lower glycemic index than modern wheat flour, meaning it's less likely to cause rapid spikes in blood sugar levels. Acorn's lower GI means it's digested more slowly, leading to a steady release of glucose in the bloodstream. It's a good source of protein and vitamins, making a nutritious alternative to modern wheat flour. You know what I'll also do is I'll do buckwheat flour. So buckwheat is technically not a wheat, it's a grain, but it's highly nutritious and it's gluten-free. And so that's a brand you said we put in our
TB or
is it the HTB? No, because they have HTB. It's HTB. I thought it's Big Bold Health, isn't it? It's the Himalayan Tartary buckwheat sprout powder. That's on Big Bold Health's website.
okay.
But are you talking about the HTB Rejuvenate that we add into our smoothies? Because that one's the vanilla.
Yeah, that's what we add to the smoothies.
That one's phytonutrients that occur naturally in Himalayan tartary buckwheat. So maybe it's like a mix of the buckwheat. I have to look into that.
It's
But the
good.
buckwheat flour, I like it from here. They trace everything. And it's also I found it from Dr. Mark Hyman. I really like his stuff. And he recommended this. I think he had a founder on one of his podcasts and I really liked it. So I usually have that in the cupboard to bake with and it swaps out. And it's like a really good one-to-one swap if you're looking for like a good wheat. And it's kind of has a little bit of a turmeric color almost because it has a little bit of turmeric in it. And so sometimes it changes the color of the muffin, but I love a good muffin.
I mean, they taste good regardless.
Yeah.
You're just making healthier swaps, like, and it's very doable. And once you start getting into it, you'll know what you can swap for. But I mean, if you want to have a sweet or a muffin, or have we done any cakes? No,
Not yet.
you did an apple
Probably do
crisp.
it more in the summertime when berries are more available.
There's all these different healthy swaps that you can make that's not going to spike your blood sugar and kind of gives you that sweet.
The thing is that when I make something, I'm like the one eating most of it because sometimes Poppy's like, eh. And I'm like, okay, let me just eat 8 muffins.
I do
Over the
notice that
course of the
I
week.
would see quite a few muffins on the counter, and then I'd
I'm
come
like,
back later the day,
really? It's me.
just shoveling
It's
muffins.
so good. But like, well, I had some eggs and muffins for breakfast. So I would say that we don't really go out to eat that much anymore. And I would usually because I have the food ready that I want to make and I don't want to waste the food in the fridge. And even when someone wants to go out to dinner, I'm like, can they just come over here or we'll go over there and bring food? Because I like to know what the ingredients are still. We use that app, Seed Oil Scout, and it'll tell you great restaurants to eat at. And really, we've gone places to visit and we've had a really good time of still being able to eat at restaurants. But we kind of do the same restaurants if we are going to go out to eat because we already know what they use. Finding a farm to table restaurant is always going to be better. And like the one here is what's the one that we went to with Mary and Madison? It was so good.
I didn't even tell you that name, but
Fork
yeah,
and Daughter or something. Fork and Daughter? Daughters. I remember it had the name Daughters in it.
that was a really good meal.
Fork and Daughters Nashville. Rolf and Daughters. That was really, really good. And they tell you where they source the meat from. All the vegetables were seasonal. So that way you know you're going to a restaurant. They only used olive oil, they only used butter. They said they used tallow to cook some things. So it's nice because you're going there and you're not feeling like, what is the chemicals I'm getting? Like for me, it takes away the enjoyment of the meal. And so I think that knowing that we're making good meals at home, it's like that fun. I'm not like, oh, I want to go out to eat. It's more fun for me to eat at home now. And that's just like the stage of life we're in. Obviously, when we were younger, we would go out all the time. Jada was in school. We'd go out to lunch and there was just like a different season that we're in. But now it's like with the kids, I don't really like to go out to dinner with the kids. Do you? Like
It's a
not as
whole
fun for me.
nother thing. Yeah, they do great.
I feel like what's hard about it right now is Elliot goes, he like grabs everything off the table, right? He
That's
like
yeah.
grabs whatever's in front of him and he'll just like throw it or he's just like excited. And I don't know. I feel like with Poppy, it's like, yeah, it's easy to take her out. But like with Elliot, and if you're going to like an hour and a half dinner, I feel like we used to go out a lot more with Poppy because we also weren't cooking then. But now I'm like, I don't really want to go out to dinner with them. I'd rather just stay at home. If we go on to a date night, I feel like most of our date nights, we would never go to dinner. We'd go to that one farm to table place in Pasadena. We haven't been on a date night in a while though. Maybe we can go to Rolf and Daughters next time we go on a date night. Yeah, your mom's coming in.
Next weekend.
Yeah, the same weekend as Jay. So maybe we'll have a little. Maybe me, you, and Jay can just go out to dinner. That's fun because it's just like we can talk. I feel like every time we're sitting down, we're trying to talk. Poppy's like trying to get into our conversation, right? And we have to be kind of careful what we talk about because she'll pretend like she's doing something, but she's listening.
Totally listening. She's soaking it all up.
Yeah. So that will be, we can just talk without having to worry about if she's picking up on things.
Recently we did a 3-day fast.
It had bone broth though. It wasn't just water.
Yeah, I feel like with our first 3-day fast, we needed to have something, and I feel like that really got us through. But
And I also had coffee, black coffee.
yeah, you can do black coffee, water, bone broth. We did bone broth 2 for lunch and dinner.
on the first day, and then we had it for lunch the next day.
Yeah. How'd you feel? How do you think it went?
So the reason the fast, it starts autophagy in your body, which is, if you can picture it, like little Pac-Men are eating the zombie cells. And so cancer and these different diseases start from one zombie cell that goes rogue and starts turning into whatever. So the reason behind the fast is to get rid of these senescent cells, which are cleaning up your system, giving it a reset. And so with the mold, it was recommended to us to do that, to kind of just like jumpstart killing any cells that could be old and maybe have the mycotoxins. So that's why we did it. I was really scared to do it. I love to eat every day. I look forward to eating. I look forward to breakfast. I make my coffee and I add my chai to it, and it's like my routine. And then lunch, I'm like, okay, let's come in for lunch. We're outside a lot during the day, so it's just like our little routine. And so for 3 days, I was like, kind of was putting it off. And then I thought, I'm done breastfeeding. This is a perfect time to do it. If I'm going to do it, I need to do it now. And the first day was pretty much the hardest for me. My stomach was growling. I was really like tired. I felt like I was low on energy, but the bone broth helped a lot.
Yeah, you get a groggy, just, it's almost when you have a really big meal and then
You're exhausted, yeah.
after that you're like, oh my gosh. The first day was like that. I think the second day was kind of a breeze.
The second day was so fine. I didn't feel anything. I wasn't even hungry, which was weird. I was looking forward to my coffee, and then we had the bone broth. We only had the bone broth that one day though, because I was kind of full afterwards. It's like your body, I think after 24 hours, what is it? After 24 hours, then it starts using fat, or it starts using
Oh no, your
muscle?
body goes into ketosis. And I can't remember at what hour it does, but yeah, it starts to burn the fat.
Okay, so that night though, the second night, I could not go to sleep. I was so wired, like it was crazy. Like I just could not sleep, and I was trying to research. I'm like, could this have anything to do with a fast? And they said because it's like you get more that mental clarity, it does keep people up. And so they're like, take magnesium before, which I didn't do, and I should have done that before had I known that. And then also like they're like, just to eat a little bit of honey before bed. It won't take you out of autophagy that much, but it just helps you like balance your blood sugar and then get your brain relaxed. So I had no idea about that, but you really do feel this mental clarity, which is crazy.
Yeah, and I
You're
did
like buzzed in a way.
like just very eyes wide open,
Not buzzed in like
a drunk way.
almost like if you've had too much coffee, right?
Without
Not
the
like anxiety.
jitters.
Yeah, without the jitters, but just like ready to do stuff. Like I felt like that at night. Like I was thinking about things. I was being really creative. I'm like, what is going on right now?
And I did the cold plunge on the second day because it said if you pair the two, it can create like you release of endorphins. When I did it, that mental clarity like increased, and I literally felt my brain like cooling, which was kind of a weird sensation, but the whole top and everything was just like a cooling, and then I just felt super relaxed, super calm, but I was still very alert and up, which was kind of cool because I was like, wow, I didn't know.
And we did the sauna for 2 nights too. So we drank a lot of water. I feel like when I was hungry, or when I think about being hungry, I also use that time to pray and really just focus. Anytime we thought about food, we really wanted to come together and pray about like our future plans and what we're going to be doing together, and just like different things that we've had that we really wanted to present to God. And fasting is so biblical in the Bible. Jesus fasted for 40 days and 40 nights. That seems so mind-boggling to think about, but the health benefits before it, your body was not always intended to eat 24/7 like we do in America all the time. Whenever we want a snack, we can get one. And so it's like having just that reset of like, it actually does help your cells. And so we'd also just, anytime we were hungry, pray, coming together. And I felt like that was a huge bonus about it too, because you're not focused on making a meal. We did have to make food for the kids though. So
And then you made, what did you make? You made,
I made waffles I did waffles and eggs for the kids at dinner.
and like when you're hungry, your senses are heightened, and so you just smell the waffles, the vanilla waffles. You're like, oh, and you almost ate it.
I know, I was like, it smells really good.
But just not out of because you were just hungry, but like
Almost out of habit that I was
the
gonna
kids
eat
drop
it.
something, you're like pick on it, you just eat it.
I do not like to waste food. And so Poppy had made her a smoothie, and then she's like, okay, try it. And I was like, I almost drank it and I messed up my whole autophagy, but normally I taste it to tell her, oh yeah, it's good. And then she has it. But I'm like, oh, she's like, you didn't even taste it. I said, oh, I'll taste it in a little bit, but I almost messed it up then too. Just like out of habit of just like grabbing something.
Did we go grocery shopping too? And we were just
That's the thing why I would think we were putting it off is because I had food prepped I had done a couple recipes, but then we decided to just make the kids some easy meals so we didn't basically make the food and then no one eats it. But yeah, I feel like on the third day towards the nighttime, I was like, I need to eat.
Yeah, the energy was just not there.
I'm hungry. And I feel like it was good though. I'm interested to do my new blood work now to see if it helped clear out any of the mycotoxins. And also we're not getting re-exposure here, so that's going to help.
And what are we going to plan? Probably do that twice a year?
I want to do that.
Or every quarter?
Maybe like in October again, like right before, or maybe in December, like after the holidays. I'm not sure.
We also toyed with the idea of maybe doing one day out of the week, like a 24-hour fast.
Yeah, so you get a little bit of that autophagy and just like the cleanup.
But we haven't done it yet.
Yeah, we haven't done it yet. We're like, well, we'll think about it later.
It was a thought.
Thing is, I'm prepping my meals, so I'm excited to make them too. So we'll have to do it maybe on Mondays.
Yeah, because during the weekend, it's
just fun. I like to make waffles, and I have been making a lot of sourdough things, and I'm going to start a series on my YouTube if you guys want to subscribe. But I'm going to just show how to make a starter from scratch. If you didn't buy a starter, if you don't know how to do it, how exactly to get one going from scratch, and then just basic sourdough recipe, the ones that I've been really loving and I feel are very easy to follow, because sourdough is such a good staple to know how to make in your kitchen, especially because like the pioneer days, they didn't have yeast that they can just go to the store and buy. That was how they use things to like leaven their bread. But it's also just so good with the probiotics for your gut, and it also helps you break down some of the gluten. So on those recipes, I will use like an all-purpose flour, but you're getting the probiotic benefits. So we made a pizza dough. It's really good. So I have just like different recipes. The bagels, really easy to make, so delicious, and like a warm bagel out of the oven is something I could not explain. It's so delicious.
Sourdough waffles,
sourdough pancakes. The kids love it. I mean, they don't really know any difference. So I think that's a really great thing to have. And also having someone over and then bringing out a fresh loaf of bread is just so delicious. The house smells good. And sometimes I'll give it to the kids as a snack too. They love just like a piece of bread. We found this really good jam at the farmer's market, and it's strawberry habanero. Oh my gosh. With a hot slice of sourdough bread, a little butter, the jam, and some salt on top. That's like such a good dessert.
Or we do the burrata, do jam and burrata on top of some sourdough.
Something about a spicy and sweet jelly is so delicious. I want to get into canning this summer, so that will be interesting. Once you know what ingredients are in your food, then I feel like it's like this little pathway into finding out what other things you can do or how you can make something your own. Like we've been making our own salsa.
Is that hard?
I mean, we have a good food processor, so I do think that's something good to have, because you kind of just throw everything in there, taste it, and see if you need something more. There was no real recipe. It's just like the things we like. And then we made homemade guacamole. I mean, that's pretty easy. But just sometimes it's like you think about when we would always get chips and salsa and guacamole, we'd always just go buy it because it was just the convenience of just going out and getting it. But it's not that hard to do it.
Yeah.
Just like thinking ahead and making sure you have the vegetables. But one of the reasons we want to do our vegetable garden is because you can just go outside and pick them and then make the food. That's a money saver after that happens. So we'll see.
We'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there. Also launched a Substack, so make sure to subscribe on there. You can find it on my Instagram. It's pinned at the top, but it's going to be a weekly newsletter and then some behind the scenes things we're doing and working on. So I'm excited. I feel like it's kind of bringing me back to my blogging roots. Thrifty threads. That's so funny. So yeah, I think that'll be fun, showing our country journey out here, life in the country. All right, well, we'll see you guys next Thursday. Make sure to check us out on Instagram at The Long Game Podcast.
And you can watch the full episode of this podcast on our YouTube channel, Brittany Xavier, and we will see you next Thursday.